powerful figure and mobilizing people and creating buy-in and that kind of stuff to move your agenda ahead?
All right, so those are three different conversations, all right? So the first one is ego. We all have ego. We all bring it, to wherever we are. Some of us bring it at different degrees to wherever we are. And you need to learn that what is it that I want to engage with you on and with and for? And then I've got to kind of like take you for who you are, ego and all. So either I work with that or I'm going to be against that. Mm-hmm. Right? And so those are decisions, and it doesn't matter. Politics is no different than the politics in the C-suite. Trust me, sometimes I think the politicians are more out there and more forthright than politics in the C-suite. But, you have to deal with that. What is your goal? People are people. We all come with that. Now, if you walk into a room and you are dominated by your ego, just know that your influence will be minimal because you're going to meet other large egos there. So large egos either learn how to dance with each other or they try to annihilate each other. And that's one of the things that you have to make a conscious decision all the time. Who am I going to be in this situation? This is an arrogant, know-nothing individual. Do I want to sit here and fight, or do I want to try to get something done with them? And they may be looking at me. This is a smart-ass, badass woman who thinks that she's going to come and tell me what to do. So like their opinion of my ego is meeting my opinion of their ego. So in that, who's going to be dominant? And I always choose to get what I want. All right. What was my goal? And not that I always have to get my way, which I would always love if the world gave me everything I wanted. Mm-hmm. But it's more about how do I manage this situation so that I can get to what was my intention with this person so that we can get there, rather than to be Clash of the Titans. That doesn't work. Only in movies, Clash of the Titans works.
So how did you learn this strategy? Like, was it years of training?
No,
okay.
A few good losses,
okay.
a few punches in the belly, a few kicks in the ass. Excuse me, can I say that here?
Yes, you can.
But, you learn that, and you go and you say, okay, how do I do this differently? You go lick your wounds, mm-hmm. and you learn, and you do that. Or, some of you have enough. You've got the gift of having people be in these multiple roles. So see what they've done. See what they've succeeded. When I was moving in these circles, we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot and particularly as women. We had Olga Mendez, Nidia came later. We had Carmen Arroyo later. There weren't a lot of models role models that we can look to and say, oh, how does she navigate this? So, you sometimes had to do it on your own, get punched in the face, get kicked on the floor, lick your wounds, and then start all over again. But today we have so many people. I think of Latinas have so many people in C-streets and C-suites and so many different women in politics that you ask the questions. How did you do it? Where did it go? What can you tell me? I keep hitting this wall, and it's sort of like, yeah, that's the wall you created.
Okay. So the pressure, because back then there weren't many that looked like you, that were women. How did you manage that pressure? Because till this day, there are still rooms where we are the only, right?
Oh,
we're the only woman. We're the only Latina. So how do you manage that pressure? Did you talk to yourself in the mirror and be like, you got this, you're going to go kill it? How did you manage?
Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you go to that trusted ally and say, I'm at my wit's end. If I walk into that room one more time, I'm going to kill somebody. And that's not a good thing. or you literally have to sometimes role play it in your head, and sometimes you get an ally. You might not know this person, but I might get someone who can then endorse you in a very subtle way to say, you know what, Victoria's not like that. Let me just tell you a little bit about her, so that it kind of like takes that edge that they might have about you. So there is this, I keep talking about it the way I talk about fundraising, these concentric circles of relationships. When do you use them? When do you tap into them? And how do you use them to reach this goal? But the most important thing, and I say this all the time to all of us and to myself all the time, what's your goal? Where are you going with this? If it's just for name recognition, if it's just for limelight, that's going to be short-lived. But if it's structural purpose and long-term, then you have a roadmap that you can follow. A marathon is a lot harder to do than a sprint. So, it takes a lot more practice and training to do that marathon.
Help us understand this a little more, because I actually struggle with this, because I know so many incredible people. I'm blessed with a very vibrant network. And sometimes I think to myself, like, okay, I know all these incredible people. Like, how am I strategically either building relationships or making sure my asks make sense? What if you don't have a goal, but you know that this is someone special or someone that you want to build with, but you don't have necessarily a goal in mind or an ask, right?
But you want to like them and know them,
right? Perhaps build rapport.
So then be who you are. If you bring your authentic self, right? If you come to me and you say, "Will you be my mentor?" That question always like, why do you want a mentor?
Right.
What do I have that I can give you that you don't have it within yourself? So, but if you always approach me like that, then I'm always thinking, okay, this is somebody who needs something. But if someone says, "Lorraine, how was your day? Tell me, tell me a little bit about those shoes." Then you tapped into me. All right. And you tapped into your authentic self, taps into their authentic self. And someone could say, like, "These shoes, they look fabulous, but they hurt like hell." But there is something, there's a sincerity, there's an authenticity. And sometimes we lead with what we want rather than you know what, I really want to connect with you. I don't want anything from you, or maybe not even now. Right now, I think there was something about you that made me gravitate towards you. And share that in an authentic way. There's everybody, is, as we call them, lo bucone. You don't want to be in that circle. You have a mission and a path. And what you want to do is say, who do I want on that road with me? Who do I want in my foxhole? Who do I want, who do I want in front of me? Who do I want to promote, so that then we can see that, yeah, we're really talking seriously about Latinas and Latinidad. You do that here with your podcast. You're bringing people to join you on this trip.
Enter into the foxhole. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. And managing relationships is such a skill. And I find, for me, I admire politicians, because I find that there's so many conflicting agendas and everybody is trying to get buy-in for something. And there's hands that need to be shook that don't want to be shook. Like, there's just a lot that compromising. And so the relationship element has always been something that I admired and always looked to observe. And that's why I'm asking you, like, because I think that this is a skill that can serve you for life once you are able to really hone in and double down. So what else can you share in terms of relationship management?